You guys are not gonna believe this, guys. The Batman is in my house, guys.
I think we should leave this. Anyways, this is what Road Trip Paper and today we'll be reviewing.
My biggest positive with this movie is how it dealt with Batman as a character, Bruce Wayne as a character, and sort of the arc a superhero has to go through, how it all sort of mixed very well into this very sort of solid crime thriller, especially when the character himself is so intertwined and so affected by how criminal and how just sort of horrible Gotham is.
Yeah, and Gotham definitely feels like its own like character in the film. Like there's so much fucking crime, corruption. You see most of the movie it's in darkness and there's like
Yeah.
no lights or anything. It's always raining and it definitely has like its own personality and all the characters within know each other and like you really feel that in the funeral scene when all the main characters meet each other and it
Hasn't been heard from since last night. Christ, not again.
Hey, Mr. Wayne.
it's not like they're like enemies or anything. They're just like, oh, I know you are. They all feel like pieces of like this big puzzle. And
The look and feel of this film contributes so much to how gothic and dark it looks. It looks like a comic book on the screen. There's all these like exaggerated colors and so much dark.
and even in that shot, in that like amazing fight scene where they use the gun flashes as the lighting.
Oh
to
yeah,
feel
yeah.
amazing. Like they constantly keep using red.
Red and yellows
They always found interesting ways to light
to shoot a thing. I think there was also substance to back up this style here. Most of this movie is actually really subdued. It's more like Seven and Zodiac. It feels like a Fincher crime thriller more than a normal like superhero movie.
Yeah, and the detective movie thing continues throughout because like I think there's like 70% of the movie is just like Batman being a detective and it makes sense that Riddler is the villain they chose for this.
I like the main mystery as well. Like it's actually like a pretty good detective mystery.
Yeah.
It's not just like a good Batman movie with a detective story in it. I think this is more of a detective story that has Batman and Batman villains in it.
Even though it's like a detective movie and all that, it still gives you all the things that you want from a Batman movie. You have like the good fucking action, you have the epic like, oh, Batmobile, bro.
It's actually such a great fucking chase scene on its own, taken out of this movie. It looks like a dream.
And these scenes are like taken to the next level with the fucking music. There's so the entire score in this film was fucking great. Even the songs that they picked outside the score is also great.
It's a Nirvana song. In fact, like, small tidbit, the frontman of Nirvana, Kurt Cobain, is what Matt Reeves based Batman's personality on, because he found out that like Kurt Cobain was very reclusive towards the end of his life, and he was fairly like depressed and ridden with angst, right?
Oh, did he wear like bat costume and go out and
No, he just shotgunned himself.
something in the wind? And the best thing that is so like refreshing to see is that it takes itself super seriously, and it's like, yeah, this is the story. This is Gotham. It's serious. And even when there are like emotionally sad things happening, there's no undercutting with like a joke to make it all palatable for the crowd. There are jokes that still fit within the thing. It's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like.
Noob Master.
Yeah, Noob Master 69. Called me a dickhead.
Noob Master, hey, it's Thor again.
I think what pulls all of this together is the excellent script. A pretty grand, big, like, crime drama kind of script, like 3 hours long.
Yeah, and you don't feel the length at all, even though it's fucking 3 hours long.
You don't feel it at all.
Yeah, and like a really neat thing in the script is how Batman feels like a mirror to the Riddler's character, and Riddler's motivations and all make sense. You see what happened to his past. It makes Bruce Wayne's characters feel way more grey than just like this dumb like, oh, I am the biggest best person.
I think like what helps it is the fact that the Riddler is kind of right. In fact, what the Riddler does, what the Riddler's like big evil plan is actually a good thing. If the Riddler didn't do this, the city would be way worse off.
Yeah.
which is great.
He actually exposes the bad people of the city.
Another aspect of the script I like is how it calls into question Batman's like,
I won't kill you.
and I like where it lands.
Unlike
It lands on a
fucking,
very
like, some. Yeah, okay, you finish that.
no. What were you saying?
I like some Snyder's like justification of
Like, that's what I'm saying about, like, you know, once you've, like, lost your virginity to this fucking movie, and then you come and say to me something about, like, oh, my superhero wouldn't do that. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
he even said like in his Batman movie, quote, Batman would get raped in prison. Here, the place it lands on is actually kind of gray, where it says that like Batman is not completely right for believing that.
Yeah, because there are so many characters that are constantly opposing that idea, and you see that it makes sense that they would oppose this idea. Because so many things probably wouldn't have happened if Batman had this stupid rule.
Performances. Yeah.
Pattinson was fucking great. Everyone who thought like, Twilight Boy, firstly watch his
Fuck
other
yourself.
movies.
You fuck
and
yourselves.
Now, and in this movie, he was fucking fantastic. A great Bruce Wayne. Even the few scenes, he was very great. He was a great fucking Batman. There's no dialogue for him for most of the part. He has to just like emote with his eyes.
All he has to act with is two eyes,
Yeah.
bottom mouth, for a lot of the scenes, and he does so much with it.
Yeah.
More than Pattinson himself, the performance I like a lot, simply because like how even was the Penguin, Colin Farrell guys,
Yeah. Like,
and then Penguin guys.
it's insane. Like, you genuinely don't like, it's like great makeup and prosthetics, great performance in general. Even Andy Serkis as Alfred was very cool choice, and like in the few scenes
He has so
really
much
cool.
gravitas, and
Yeah,
You've nothing left.
all these great actors brought so much gravitas to this like world,
Yeah.
and like all these characters. It's like nice.
what I like the most about this is the fact that it's a complete standalone film. That if there was no sequel, you wouldn't complain. If it was never tied to anything else, you wouldn't complain. And if it was, you definitely wouldn't complain. By far the best like Batman we've had on screen, I think, besides Christian Bale.
All the negatives we mentioned here are like mostly personal gripes and less like fundamental flaws. This is a negative for me. I didn't I like his relationship with Catwoman was not that well developed. Like
He's a Snyder fan.
No, not this, because like I understand why they were together, all that, but I didn't understand why now they're romantically involved with each other. That felt like okay. It's
I
like-
can-
It's
I
a
can
thing
give,
because
like-
Batman, Catwoman are supposed to bang.
No,
so
I
they
can
bang.
give an argument for that. I think like that part of the script is good too. I think the reason they are together is
because both have bad fathers and they're
no. How often do you run into another person who's attractive and has the same fetish of running around at night in a costume?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel whenever I see Batman and Catwoman, I feel like it's like this weird fetish where like, oh, I am furry, you are furry.
Yeah, but doesn't that make sense though that they two would get along? Because who else do they know who is like this?
There were like some clunky dialogue, especially there was this line in the beginning when Batman goes like, hey, you're not my father, Alfred, huh? That was very like on the nose.
I think like my biggest like negative with this movie, it's not even that much of a big negative. It didn't like kill it for me or anything. But I think like the choice of final set piece could have been a bit more different, or in fact the final set piece itself could have been a bit more tighter. Narratively, there is an arc that the final set piece deposits that makes sense, that means that it is required. I just feel like it's such a departure from most of the movie. Final set piece is like bombastic, large scale.
This didn't bother me that much because it felt like the whole movie had this feeling of like this big empire will crush down with this guy. And like,
Yeah.
a lot of movies keep telling you this shit and never deliver on it. And this movie was like, yeah, it delivers and it does like big shit. My problem is that like, even though they go for it, there are no consequences for this big thing. That kind of
that
is
too.
what like makes it not that great.
Yeah, the very small gripes, very minor gripes in what's a very well
Really,
made,
really great film.
great,
And
great superhero movie.
what do you give it?
I give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I give it an 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching this review. Like this video, share this video, and subscribe to the channel.